Hello and welcome to another episode of the Jimmy Rex Show. Today on the podcast, we sit down with Traver Boehm, and he is the founder of Man Uncivilized, a men's coaching program. He also has written several books, one with the same title, one called Today I Rise, another one called 28 Days in Darkness that launches here soon, where he talks about his experience of spending 28 straight days in complete darkness. He actually just finished another similar event where he sat for 49 days. I can't imagine, but we talk about all of it on the podcast. We go into it deep. We talk about some men's issues, some things that we've both learned running men's coaching programs. It's a conversation I definitely enjoyed and am excited to share with you. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast with Traver Boehm. Also, today's episode is brought to you by Bucked Up Protein. Speaking of manly things, drinking enough protein is one you guys need to get. And this has 100 calories and 25 grams of protein in every can. So you can pick these up at Harmon's or anywhere where Bucked Up is sold. Again, that is Bucked Up Protein. So with that, let's get to the show. Traver, thanks for being here on the podcast, man.
My pleasure, brother. Good to be here.
You know, you went on a journey several years ago to figure out a question. I love this question, but you said, who am I as a man? And I would love to hear what you figured out. My goal in life is to help men find themselves, become more connected to themselves. Therefore, they can connect to everybody else in the world itself. And so I'd love to hear, what inspired this journey and what you discovered about yourself.
I think it's a classic tale, Jimmy. I lost everything, right? I had a divorce, I had a miscarriage, my business partnership fell apart. This is all like a couple months before I turned 40. And so I had lived up what I figured was the halfway point of my life, very unconscious. I'd never, I looked at my external results and went, well, I make a lot of money. I have 6% body fat. I'm married to a beautiful woman. Like, what could possibly be wrong with my life? Oh, I drink every night. I smoke a ton of dope. I look at a ton of porn. If there's ever a question in my marriage, I get defensive and I shut down and I yell and I'm like working multiple jobs. I don't sleep. All of these things that were, quote, wrong. But I just thought, hey, this is normal. I'm a dude. I'm supposed to drink. I'm supposed to get high. I'm supposed to look at porn. I'm supposed to be reactive. I had not been initiated into consciousness yet. And so boom, waking up on rock bottom one day, I was like, well, a lot of shit just happened and I'm the central player in this drama. So I can blame the universe, God, my ex-wife, my ex-business partner, whatever I want to blame, or say, this is a really big opportunity for me to start asking different questions and perhaps challenging the ways I had been raised, indoctrinated, culturally, societally, familially, geographically. And I just had this question of, well, shit, who am I without that business? It's a question a lot of men have to answer. Even more men have to answer, who am I not now that I'm not that woman's husband? And then shit, if I'm going to go for those two, I was like, I might as well just keep going. Right? Who am I as a person? That's a lifelong quest. Who am I as a man? I'd never, ever, ever been, no one had ever asked me that question. And I get a lot of guys, I'm sure you get a lot of guys, where I'll even say, you need to know who you are and what you're about as a man. And I'll get this kickback. Guys will be like, you know what, brother, I'm a human. I'm like, I get that, you are. But I'm going to tell you something. It's a big thing. You're also a man. And so you have a playbook, you have a design style, you have ways in which you are more potent in the world or ways that you are more collapsed in the world that have nothing to do with food, shelter, water, a roof over your head, the basics of being human. Once you've got that taken care of, you have this beautiful privilege to go, cool, I'm a man. Now, what does that mean to me? How do I exist in the world? How do I want to exist in the world as a man? Right? These are big philosophical questions that the beauty of rock bottom is that you got a lot of time on your hands. So I did some thinking.
I think that's the part of it that most people never give themselves enough time to actually sit with those questions or sit with those thoughts to even sort of let the noise clear out long enough to get some of those answers.
Yeah, man. I remember Jimmy, my divorce attorney was a woman, and I had been with her for a year. It took me like over a year to get divorced, even though it was simple. And I explained to her what I was going to go do for the next year, which was this whole year long project called the Year to Live Project, volunteering in hospice, getting in the dark, going to survival school, like making some amends with people, bringing my family together. And she goes, "Do you realize that the average time it takes for a man whose wife left him to be dating the next woman he'll propose to is under 6 weeks?"
Wow.
And I was like at the 6 week mark, I was still like throwing up and, not being able to get out of bed. You're dating the next woman you propose to. So there's this beautiful thing in space, but it is uncomfortable.
Mm.
There's a discomfort and there was a discomfort for me too. And I want your listeners to think, oh, well, I'm just some unique snowflake. No, it sucked. I wanted to start dating. I wanted to rebuild another business. I wanted to get back all of the things I had lost, but felt like there was this big opportunity to sit in the void long enough to go, let's get some new answers here. So yeah,
How,
that's what I
how
did.
how long did it take when you started, sitting with this before you started to really unravel some of it and get some of your answers?
Like 2 years, man.
Wow.
2 years. Like one, I had to get over the trauma of the situation. And I had some stuff starting to come through. I got sober, right? I got off porn. I stopped smoking dope. I went, let me get around some intentional men. And let me get around some good teachers. Holy shit, where were these guys for the first 40 years of my life? Oh, they were right there. I just couldn't see them. And so I went deep in it, man. I think that's the call. If you want to get a depthful answer,
Mhm.
you got to go deep, right? I
Mhm.
just came out of 49 days in the dark, man. And I'll tell you, I didn't get my deepest answers until day 42, 43. Now think about that. Alone, in isolation, no light. It took 7 weeks to get to where I wanted to go. Most guys getting divorced are already dating their next chick, and I'm still sitting in the dark by myself trying to figure some shit out.
So hold on a second. I mean, so when you did this the first time, I know you wrote your book that's coming out here in a couple of weeks called 28 Days in Darkness. So you did
Yeah.
it again and went 49 days. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I haven't even been out a month.
Wow. So, all right. I want to hear about this because I
Yeah.
signed up for a 4-day one once
You
and
did.
I signed up for it. It's a place up in Oregon. And
Okay.
I had gone to one of Aubrey Marcus's events and asked him about it. And he had his documentary and he gave me the place to sign up. But my mistake I made is I signed up and it was like in the end of June. And I live in Utah. I'm like, why would I go do this at the best time of the year with the weather? I'm going to wait till January when I want to get the hell out of Utah anyway, where it's already dark for 20 hours a day here, anyways. And so I went to re-sign up, and it's like a 2-year wait in the winter. And so I have conveniently put it off.
Mhm.
But scary. The thought of it was really scary. And so I'd love to hear a little bit. I've never really talked to anybody that's had this experience, especially 28
Mhm.
days. That's insane, by the way. Uh,
Mhm.
I'd love to hear kind of what the experience was like. You can kind of preface a little bit of what's in the book and get us excited for that. I'd love for my listeners to learn from that.
Thank you, man. It's a hard thing to describe, Jimmy. I want you to imagine right now, after this call, you go lock yourself in your bathroom and you don't come out for 2 months and you can't see. Someone takes care of your food, so that's like handled. Your like basic human needs are handled, but there's literally nothing else to do but eat, sleep, and shit. That's it. And that doesn't take up a lot of time. So the way I view it now, the first time, the 28 days were like, I'll describe it as like a month-long car accident because I was still fresh of the trauma of the divorce, fresh in the trauma of the miscarriage, fresh in the trauma of leaving the business, fresh into sobriety.
Mm,
So like all of this shit was coming up, like from my past, from my family of origin, from my childhood. Anything you think you've buried, brother, it's still in there. And
mhm,
when you got nothing to do, like I can't describe the violence of monotony. It never gets any less dark or any more dark. It's the same. There's 24 hours in a day, no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's day 1 or day 49. There's nothing to fucking do. So what does your psyche do? My psyche's like, sweet, let me crack my neck and bring up some hard shit for this dude to have to sit with. And it would be all of the stuff I didn't want to think about. How I had fucked up my marriage, how many times I'd lied to my ex-wife, what it must have been like for her to come home and find me drunk and high on the couch as a health practitioner. Right? Even this last one where I wasn't coming out of this situation, it was more of, who do I want to be in the next 20 years of my life? I'm about to turn 50. That's a big question if you actually sit with it. If you get quiet enough to take your phone off, no music, nothing to see, no distractions, the body's taken care of, man, we get access to a depth that we simply cannot get access to with our eyes open. And no one's going to get to like, oh, I meditate 3 times a week for 20 minutes. That's beautiful. I was meditating 4 to 5 hours a day. Think about all the shit that's in you that's you may have dealt with, you may not have dealt with, or you think you've dealt with. Like, I checked that box. And it's like, well, have we? Let's sit with it for 5 fucking straight days with no break. Same conversation going through your head. Same video, same memory, same stuff. Right? So the book isn't just like, it would be boring as shit if I was like, hey, and then on day 3, I sat there, and then on day 4, I was still sitting there, man. We're flying. But all of these things had come up. And that year I was on going into the dark, I'd volunteered in hospice. So I sat with people who were dying. Right? I relived some of my own like shit. I've had some addictive properties here and some challenges. I'm going to have to relive all of that. So it's have you ever done plant medicine?
Yes.
It's like that, but for a month.
I've heard it drops DMT when you sit in darkness long enough. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I had some hallucinations in the 28-day one. I did not in this last round. But I'll tell you, man, I'd been told like day 11, it's coming day 11. So like every day was like 4 days till day 11. And then day 11 was like, where's the movie? Where's Endless Summer or some, acid trip? Nothing. But then when it did come, it was stuff I didn't want to see. And that's tough because there's no break. Like right now, if we get in an argument and we end this podcast early, you can go get on Instagram. You can talk to your partner if you have one. You can go play with your kids if you have them. You can go walk in a park to calm yourself down. Now, if you get in an argument with someone in a pitch black room and there's nothing to do, and it's 18 hours till you get fed again, when that's the next logical break, and you've already pissed twice and you're not sleepy, you're going to sit with everything that came up, man. And now why do men do this, and why do men need to do this? Because we're so easily distracted. And the world calls on us to be distracted. Right? We're the doing species. Women are often more of the being species. So even if we do have space, and I have no shade on this, we fill it with stuff. We go to the gym, we have fantasy football, we watch TV, we play video games, like we fill our time, we do stuff. But then how much time do we give to introspection, to these big questions, to contemplation, which I think used to be a lot of the way of men. We'd sit around and think about shit.
And even fishing or
right, hunting or
yeah.
We
a lot of downtime.
Sit in the woods, right? We don't now. Like guys can't take a shit without looking at their phone. So yeah, it's a ride. It's interesting, Jimmy. This last round when I came out, the woman who guided me, she guided me both times, 10 years apart, said, do you realize this is 95% men who do this? I was like, no kidding. She's like, yeah, well, the darkness is the divine feminine, and yin and yang theory in Chinese medicine are like black is feminine. So you're in the womb of the feminine for how long too? There's, if you want to get esoteric, like, okay, chills in my arm. There's that too. So for a lot of us, just sitting still is impactful. So I'd say for the 4-day, man, if you sign back up, go longer. Because here's what happens. You'll sleep for the first 2 days.
That sounds nice, actually.
Are you a parent?
No, I'm not.
Okay. You know how many parents I've had been like, bro, this sounds
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, like, yeah,
sounds like
I'll
the
see you
best thing
never
on
go
earth.
to the darkness retreat again. He's like, didn't you go last weekend?
You just come out all happy and refreshed.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Well, it's one of those things, I try to get to 3 or 4 different masterminds or events a year. I host about a dozen myself. And so
Kidding.
I was just doing one last weekend. I did one 3 weekends ago, and so for me, it's balancing. I always want to be a student. I want to be learning more. Like some people might hear you and be like, well, if it was so impactful the first time, why'd you have to go back? And I get it. Like you're the kind of person that sounds like that's just always going to be pushing yourself, always going to want to get to another level. And also, it's not like once you learn something, you can't gain more insight from doing similar things. And it's funny because I had a mentor about 2.5 years ago, and he said to me, he said, Jimmy, he said, we find God in silence, solitude, and solace. And it's we don't give ourselves enough space in this. And so what I've really worked hard to do is find that in my life. And I live about 10 minutes from the mountains, thankfully. And so I can get into the mountains in about, 15 minutes and just go sit on a log. Don't bring your phone. And just an hour a week alone can really help you get some clarity on things that are happening. And we just don't do that. Like you said, this world is designed, every single thing around us is trying to steal our attention. It's an attention
Every
game. That's the number one, uh,
currency.
yeah, currency currently is just trying to get people's attention. And so the more that we give that up to things that don't deserve it, the more we're doing it at our own despise.
It's crazy, man. Imagine coming out of 7 weeks. I sat in an airport and was like, this place is insane. And everybody in here is insane. And then I went into Whole Foods when I came back to Colorado and was like, holy shit, this place is fucking bonkers. What are we
In
doing?
your defense, I've gone to Whole Foods just on a Saturday and thought these people seem pretty weird, but no.
And I'm in Boulder, Colorado, which is not a war zone. This is like hippieville. It's
Yeah.
our society is designed, you nailed it. And I think men, it's easiest to grab our attention because we're so visual, we're so easily stimulated.
Well,
Right.
it's
So
interesting. I got a couple of my closest buddies, and one he has 3 kids now, and he's deep in his family and his business. He's growing. He's an entrepreneur. Another one that runs a multi-million dollar company, and then another guy that the kind of guy that had to move to Puerto Rico for taxes. He's just busy. They're doing life, and he sent me a text last week. He said, "Hey, man, I don't think we're doing fantasy football this year, and we have this league that." And for me, it's just like we've always loved it because it's connecting and it's all those things. And I sat there and when I got the text and I was like, you know what? That feels right. I'm good with that. It's like I used to think that my fall evolved around watching football. And you look back and you're like, do I really care who won the Georgia LSU game? Do I really care who won the game of my team? You don't. And we'll spend
right.
so much time of our lives just distracting ourselves or trying to, somehow justify that we're not wasting that time. So we really put our full heart and effort into this thing that really doesn't matter at all. And I think getting older, it gives you more hindsight. You like start looking at, these things I thought were so important 10, 15 years ago. And you look at it now and you just laugh. You're like, it never mattered. But
It
it
never
sure as hell felt like it really mattered back then.
Yeah.
Um, you coach so many men now, and that's something that you and I have in common.
Mhm.
What is making it? I know one of the things you said, your goal is to end the suffering in men. So I'd like to dive into that a little bit. What is causing suffering in men in today's world?
They're disconnected from themselves. Number one. Then they're disconnected from something bigger. And I don't care if you call that God. I don't care if you call that nature. I don't care if you call that the soul of the world. I don't care what you call it. But you go sit in the woods for an hour outside of Utah or outside of your town. You are connecting to something bigger than you. You are also connecting to yourself. You said it. In an hour, you may get insight. Even if you get no epiphany moment, you've just spent time with yourself. Most guys can't handle being in their bodies for more than 90 seconds.
Mm.
They simply can't. And I'm not shitting on men. I was that way in my marriage. I was that way 10 years ago. I couldn't sit still. It was either caffeine, weed, alcohol, something. Like, don't let me drop below my collarbone into my body. So I'd say first and foremost, we don't know who the fuck we are. Because if we did, a lot of the external things that we've oriented ourselves around and our life around would probably change. And that's a real hard proposition if it costs you 4 years of grad school to get the law degree, and dad thinks you're the best lawyer in the world and he always wanted you to be a lawyer. But if you drop down into your heart and you're like, man, I just want to play the guitar and go surf in Costa Rica. Now I feel that he feels that for a fraction of a second, has to pop back up into his head, look at Instagram, look at something, blah, 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 blah. So there's a deep lack of authentic intentionality. And I know these seem like coaching words or et cetera, but really it comes down to, guys, are you living the life you want to live? Now, Jimmy, we have to deconstruct some of the things, right? Like I grew up on the East Coast. You had to go to college. If you didn't go to college, you were a failure. I remember my mom sitting me down on the bed as like a 7-year-old and being like, if you don't get a master's degree, you'll amount to nothing in this world. Now, I had to deconstruct that after getting a master's degree and be like, wait a minute, I thought this was the road to happiness. It wasn't. So really, men are suffering for a number of reasons, but I can frame it all around relationship. They don't have a relationship to themselves. They don't have a relationship to something bigger. If they're in an actual relationship, be that romantic or other, probably romantic, they don't know how to be relational. How do we stay connected? My mentor calls it being in contact, Dewey Freeman. Like connect. Can you feel your partner? Can they feel you? Are you guys in the same relationship? Great question. I've worked with a lot of couples, brother. And at the end of an hour, I'm like, you guys are dating or you're married, but you're in way separate relationships. Is this guy living the life he wants to live? Go ahead.
What are a couple of the things that you help coach men on to get more connected to self and then get more on the same page in their relationship?
To get connected to self, you got to remove the things that are taking you away from self. And guys get pissed at me, man. I'm like, you want to work with me? You're not drinking anymore. Just go 90 days. If you can't go 90 days, first of all, there's some questions.
Yeah, you got a problem. Yeah. Every year I keep 75 days where I don't drink at all, because if I can't do that, I got a problem.
Right? It's a big thing. And I'm not trying to get guys sober. I'm just trying to say, here are the facts. These are the things that take you out of your body, away from your own thoughts. Social media, weed, video games, porn, alcohol. Trust me, you go 4 days without any of those, you will radically change your life as a man, because you'll go, holy shit, I kind of have a feel for who I am again. Right? This is a set of questions I ask men that is both to answer to both of your questions. What do you need in your life specifically as a man to thrive? I need jujitsu. That's a weird thing to need. If I don't have jujitsu, do I die? No, I don't die. But am I less than who I could be? Am I less happy? Do I not sleep as well? Do I start thinking about choking people in Trader Joe's? I do. So I need jujitsu. I need to surf. Again, am I going to die if I don't surf? No. But I know if I'm doing jujitsu, if I'm surfing, if I'm writing, if I'm engaging in kinky sex every once in a while, that's kind of like my user manual. So I know that now. I'm 49 years old. I know if I'm like, what's going on? Why aren't I sleeping? Why am I feeling a little bit squirrely? I need to get on the mat. I need to go back to the ocean. I need to plan a surf trip. I need to start. I've been writing sales copy and not anything from my heart. I need to write. I need to tie somebody up. Now, when I get in relationship, as opposed to just being like, I don't know why I'm all fucking squirrely and all over the place with you, I can say, hey, here's my user manual. Does this work for you? Are you okay being with a guy who needs jujitsu, who needs the ocean, who needs to tie you up every once in a while, who needs to write for an hour every day? If you're not, I'm not the right person for you. If I am, and you catch me getting squirrely, you may go, hey, guess what? I can feel something's off with you. When was the last time you got on the mat? Or, hey, I noticed that you've been working so much for the last month. You haven't been training. You should probably go get in the gym. So most guys, though, when I ask that question, Jimmy, I get the like puppy dog head turn. Like, what do I need as a man? I've been told being a man is shameful. It's weak. It's this. It's real men eat bacon. Real men love Jesus. Real men do such and such. Not talking about real. Throw that word right out the window. What do you need as a man to be successful and thrive in this world? That takes some introspection. But I'll
Yeah,
also
and
tell
I
you,
think a
man.
lot of people,
Go ahead.
they don't have any idea what the answer to these questions would be, right? And it's one of the things when you do go sit in silence or you go do this, have some of these questions top of your mind and kind of think about them for a second. Wait, what do I truly enjoy? When am I happiest? Where am I settling? What do I do that I don't want to? What emotion am I trying to experience when I do this or that? Or what am I trying
That's
to
a great question.
what am I trying to block? What emotion am I not wanting to have come through? Or, where am
Yeah.
I still not loving myself or judging myself? And really just being able to pull back a little bit and doing it with just intentionality.
But you use the word intentionality, man. That these questions aren't answered like between scrolls on social media.
Yeah.
They're not answered sitting on the toilet in 10 minutes. Like, go take a walk in the woods. Go spend 3 days in a cabin. I think our fathers and grandfathers and like the writers of old, they used to go disappear for like 6 weeks. And I get that there's probably a father listening to this, be like, great, bro. You don't have kids. That's why you can say this. Well, if you got an hour in the morning or you got an hour, unless those kids go to bed at midnight, you may have an hour. And if you're in a relationship and you said to your partner, I guarantee you, if you said, hon, I'm going to go spend an hour with a journal and a deep question, I don't think a lot of women are going to get upset
Yeah.
or men. I don't care how you roll. Any partner is going to be like, wow, you're going to go know yourself a little bit better. Beautiful. Bring me something back from that.
Yeah. I just this last week I'm obsessed right now with cabins in the woods and getting out there more. And I found a timeshare. I was a realtor in my previous career, and so I have access to the MLS still. And I saw this cabin share, and you get it for about 5 or 6 times a year if you go 3 days at a time. And it's
Yeah.
like 2 hours from my house. It's perfect. It's in the Uintas, which are my favorite mountains, for $8,000. And normally it was 23,000. The guy who's just fire selling, hasn't used it in 2 years. And so I bought it. And I'm like, this is going to force me to have 5 or 6 times a year that for 3 days, I'm going to go to this cabin by myself in the woods and
Mhm.
find that time to just disconnect. And I'm so happy about it. It was like, is the perfect thing that I've been looking for. I don't have to worry about a cabin to have all the time. I literally stole this thing basically. And so I'm super pumped about
I
it
love
because
it.
it's exactly what you're saying is like get away to a cabin for 2 or 3 days. And I did it
Yeah.
2 years ago. I went to a cabin. I left my phone at my house, which might have been a little scary for some people, but and went, about an hour away, and I just sat there for 2 days and just by myself and just let stuff
Yeah.
come through. And I journaled more. I read more than I'd read in months, and so
Yeah. I think especially for guys over 35, it's
mm,
easy for us because we used to do this. I spent the 90s without a cell phone, right? I spent a lot
mhm.
of time fishing, a lot of time sitting on back porches, staring off into the woods.
And
And
believe it
so
or not, it was better than
it was so
there's
much better.
so many things were better than, when you like, I think we peaked as a society in 1999 is the year I always say.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm
that was
with
the
you.
last year I didn't have a cell phone. I don't know.
It's so true. And I think even for younger guys, you'll have 24 hours of squirreliness, but then your system will literally drop you back in. I told you during that year, I did a month-long survival program in Utah, Boulder, Utah, Boulder
Oh
Outdoor
yeah, of
Survival
course. Yeah,
School.
yeah.
And
I've almost signed up multiple times for that.
so good. The very first night, it was a month-long course. They take us out into the wilderness and go, hey guys, we're going to leave you here for 2 hours. All we want you to do is stare up at the sky and think about this. We're not teaching you anything. We're reintroducing you into your natural habitat.
Mm,
You've been here for thousands and thousands of years, this little tiny, tiny blip of society. And then it's say in the last 20 years, which is like a microsecond in the human evolution timeline.
mhm,
Since 1999 till now, things have just gotten crazy. In the last 3 years, things since 2019, I mean, pre-pandemic, things were much different than they are now. Your
mhm,
biology will remember, fellas. And that's when you actually get to, again, you want a deep answer. You got to let that depth doesn't give a shit how busy you are.
mhm.
It's going to go, cool. I'll just go sit in the corner and wait. And if you want me to wait 15, 20 years, I will.
Well, and that's the truth of the matter is um, our body. is you more you study all this, your body's just hanging on to stuff. And you don't even know it's there. It's like just hanging out. And at any point, that's why I love breath work. About every 2 out of 3 times I do it, nothing happens. But that third time, it'll pop out that thing that I never knew was there haunting me for the last 10 years, you know?
Right. And it slaps you in the face and you go, I can't believe I couldn't feel that, see that, know that. And it was right there, just sitting in the corner.
Yeah. I want to cover something. You talk a little bit in one of your books, Today I Rise, you
Mhm.
talk about getting over breakup and divorce. I think this is an important topic. I really want to dive into this.
Sure, sure.
I don't know if the best way to do it is bullet points or rapid questions or whatever, but like for guys that are in this position, I think it's one of the hardest places to be in life. You feel like everything's crumbling, nothing matters. You can't even function sometimes when you're
Mhm.
in that place. If you've truly, been in love with this person you're losing.
Mhm.
And so I'd love to hear what you learned and what you teach
Mhm.
in that book.
First of all, it just sucks. And it's universal. Like there is no pain like heartbreak.
Mhm.
And divorce is such a brutal experience. And I think it often gets downplayed for men. They're like, hey man, you just got to start fucking someone else. You just got to get over this. Like go to the gym. And so first let's acknowledge that this is a major, major life change. I started seeing a Jungian analyst, Jimmy, when I was getting divorced. And I was like, hey man, is this a big deal? Because this is really effing me up. And he goes,
Mhm.
I have guys coming in here 25 years after their divorce that it's still messing with them. So just recognize, gentlemen, listening to this, I want to say a couple things. It is an initiation, and that's a big word. And an initiation means one, you are severed from the reality that you knew. Number two, your identity is often completely decimated or completely changed.
Mhm.
And number three, you know intuitively you can never go back to the reality that you had before. Now, everything that I just described is also how we would categorize trauma, like legit trauma. The difference is if you can have people around you to hold you during this experience, or if you can hold yourself, you will change through the experience. That's why you're going through it. So I don't want to downplay the pain. What I want to tell men is the pain has a purpose.
Mhm.
You will not be the same and good. So here's what you do. You get real fucking honest, right? I called a guy, Jimmy. I was like, I think I'm going to quit drinking. And he was like, cool, tell me about it. And I was like, I'm not an alcoholic, blah, 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 but I used to smoke a lot of dope. And at the end of the call, he's like, you know what? People who smoke enough dope where it doesn't affect them, their wife doesn't leave them. And I was like, oh shit. Thanks for calling me out on that. So I quit smoking dope, quit drinking, right? I looked at the places in my own life that I said, even if she never comes back, I want to use this pain as fuel to change those things. And if I can look at pain as fuel, holy shit, I just got given a double dose of fuel. So I can lie on my back miserable, hating myself, depressed, which some days just go for it, let it happen. Or I can say, you know what? I'm going to change my life, parts of my life. And I'm going to use this suckery. I'm down here on rock bottom. Beautiful. That's when you get to the base levels. You're in the foundation now. You're doing deep work down there. And do that. Figure out the shit you want to change about your life. Now, the last point, this is a biggie. Get a life. And I'm not saying that to be harsh to you guys. Go experience life. Recognize that the world is a big place and there's a lot of opportunities and there's incredible things happening every single day. And yes, you're going to have to drag yourself to some of them because your heart is broken and you feel nauseous and you feel like everything would just be so much better if she came back or she called you or she apologized or whatever it is and your mind is racing. You got to build yourself a new life. You got to try stuff you've never tried before. Take a cooking class, get in the best shape of your life, learn a new language, change your business, go to a workshop, join a mastermind, get around guys too. This is a biggie. I got around guys who'd been divorced and they're like, guess what? It sucks. And it's like, oh, thank God. Thank you for being honest. And there's another side to this. Now, you don't get to the other side until you acknowledge that it sucks. So if you're one of those guys that's just like, I'll just drink through this, I'll just fuck through this, I'll just get high through this. And if you're one of the 6-week dudes that my divorce attorney was talking about, you'll most likely be right back here in 2 years.
Yeah.
So use it, gentlemen. Like, one, my heart aches for you, man. In that book, Jimmy, I tell guys, I wrote it 10 years ago, so I didn't know shit from shit about marketing or whatever, but I put my email address in it and I was like, hey, email me 10 things that are amazing about you. I know today's the worst day of your life, but guess what? There's still some cool shit about you. And 10 years later, I still get these emails and they just make me cry. Because guys will be like, you know what? I'm a good cook. I play a really good Stairway to Heaven on the guitar. Like, I'm a good father. I was a kind man. I'm a kind man. And I'm like, see, there's still so much to you other than the fact that this person's no longer in your life.
Yeah.
I wish I could like shake men by the shoulders, because 8 out of 10 male suicides come from divorce or a breakup. That's a big number. And go, brothers, there's another side to this. Trust me. But you have to be willing to go through hell. You have to. You don't have to go through hell alone, though. And you get to learn all along the way. It took me, I'll be honest with you, man. It took me about 6-7 years before I was like, I'm so grateful that woman left me.
Mm.
Right? Kicking and screaming for the first 3 years. How could you do this? How could you do this? And now I look at my life and I'm like, holy shit, my life is fucking crazy amazing. It is the life I wanted when I was married. And do you know how many guys I've worked with over the past decade who now have the life they actually wanted in their hearts, in their souls, in their guts, but they didn't have in their marriage? And they too fought, kicked, and screamed like, how do I get her back? How do I get her back? How do I get her back? I just want her back. And now they're like, I wouldn't take her back if she came with $1 million.
An interesting thing happens when you do the work on yourself. You're going to realize that that version of you that loved that person, that it was needed for that time, but you no longer even would be connected if you tried. And so you're able to move on because you realize that that person you're just not even the same humans that once were together. And it's very freeing to be able to kind of have that recognition.
Yeah. I would tell guys, like, please, guys, like, don't go down the woman hating red pill.
That's the worst thing you can do, is start
the worst thing you can do.
Personal accountability has to be at the forefront of everything. Yeah. It's interesting. I just got back this weekend. I had a retreat on a houseboat in Lake Powell, Utah, and Arizona. And one of the guys, he's deciding if he's going to stay in his marriage. And all he did is told us all the things that he didn't like about his marriage. And I just said, hey, all right, what are 3 things that you're doing in the marriage to cause the problems? Mm-hmm. And he named 2, and then he started skirting around all this stuff. I said, hold on. I haven't even heard a 3rd thing from you yet. And he was having a hard time coming up with his own fault in this. And I mean, everyone else sitting there, we could totally see it. We're like, I could come up with 10, but, and it was really beautiful to like watch him. And to his credit, I talked to him later that night. He said, I'm putting a lot of thought into this, man. I really want to see, I think I've missed my own culpability in this. It's because that's the first way to overcome anything, is to realize that if you're the problem, then you can be the solution. If it's out of your hands, that's a pretty hopeless situation. And so that personal responsibility, I agree. And blaming women or thinking that they're the problem, I mean, you have to be smart enough to know that you are the problem. Even if that particular woman caused your problems and her problems to become a giant problem, it's still you that is the problem in that sense, because either the problem was you chose the wrong person, or the problem was you weren't showing up the way that you needed to in that relationship to make it work.
Yeah. Some of the best piece of advice I got was from a guy named Tom Elsner, who was a therapist, who said, you're 100% responsible for your 50% of the relationship. Period. I don't want to hear about what she did. I want to know what did you do? And you're not 100% responsible for the demise of the relationship. Even if she's telling you it's all your fault and you did this, and 100% responsible for your 50%. And I remember him telling me, like, give me this top 7 things she said, the reasons she left, that were about you, and then pick 3 of them and go to war with them. Mm. Right? You're not present? Cool. Go get fucking present. You weren't sober? Cool. Go get sober. You were angry? Go to angry Like, to deal with that, because guess what? The next woman you're with, who you invest your time, your money, your energy, your life force with, that shit's not going to change unless you change it.
Yeah, 1,000%. Well,
Yeah.
dude, I'm excited to read this new book. I'm going to read it and then decide if I'm going to go do the 40 or the 20 day or whatever I do myself. Where do we pick up the new book, 28 Days in Darkness? Also, you have another book called Man Uncivilized I didn't get to, but just doing amazing work, man. I want people to experience these books and to be able to learn more for themselves. So where do we send them?
Head to manuncivilized.com/28 days. And you can get the book, you can get a PDF, you can see the video of the room I was in 10 years ago. I do have a video of the room I was in 3 weeks ago, but I'm not putting that out just yet. So manuncivilized.com/28 days.
Awesome. Well,
Thanks, brother.
You, man. Keep doing great work and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you again for listening to the Jimmy Rex Show. And if you liked what you heard, please like and subscribe. It really helps me to get better guests, to be able to get the type of people on this podcast. It's going to make it the most interesting. Also, want to tell everybody about my podcast studio, the Rookery Studios, now available in Salt Lake City and Orem, Utah. If you live in Utah and want to produce your own podcast, we take all of the guesswork out of it for you. We make it so simple. All you do is you come in, you sit down, you talk, and leave. We record it, edit it, even post it for you. If interested in doing your own podcast, visit our Instagram and send us a DM, Rookery Studios, or go to our website, therookerystudios.com.